What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this one, we have misconceptions about the Netherlands, American expats in the Netherlands. Before we dive in, if you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to support the channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is hit the join button and receive your exclusive benefits. Let's dive in.
What comes to mind when you ask an American about the Netherlands? Or ask them about Dutch people? Do they think all Dutch wear clogs? Or does a map of the Netherlands look like this to them? Today, we're counting down the top 6 misconceptions Americans have about the Netherlands. And we're calling out our friends and family. Let's hope they don't watch this video.
Uh-oh.
As Americans living in the Netherlands, when you tell someone that you live in the Netherlands, you sometimes will get some interesting and inaccurate ideas about what the Netherlands is. So we thought we'd put together a little list of the top misconceptions that we've heard about living in the Netherlands. The Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
Some things I always thought about the Netherlands were that everybody smokes pot. Prostitution is very common. Everybody rides a bike to work, to school, to the prostitutes.
So the first thing that I did was I actually posted on Instagram. I said, when you hear about the Netherlands, what are some of the first things that come to your mind? And I got some interesting responses. So the one that I heard most commonly was drugs. Secondly, tulips. Wooden shoes was also very common, as well as canals. And randomly, someone asked if we could adopt them so they could live here with us.
All right, so
Randomly, someone asked if we could adopt them. But yeah, when you think of the Netherlands, I asked that. I mean, a lot of that's just kind of low key when you think of Amsterdam. Like when you think of drugs, when you think of prostitution being very common, and things of that stuff like that. Those thoughts you think of Amsterdam, but let's hear more misconceptions.
so I got Amsterdam,
Yeah.
weed and prostitutes, canals, free healthcare, and highly paid teachers and reasonably paid doctors. So let's set them straight.
First up, not every city in the Netherlands has canals. There's this idea that every Dutch city has a ton of canals like Amsterdam does. And while most Dutch cities do have them, even the more modern ones like Rotterdam, it's nowhere near the level like Amsterdam or even Utrecht. And I would wager to guess that if an American were to visit some of those cities outside of the main ones, they might be surprised at how few canals they actually see.
I think a lot of the cities do have canals. And Rotterdam has canals too. But just like when you walk around Amsterdam, it's like every block is a canal.
Yeah, you have so many bridges.
And the canal tours. Next up, there's this idea that in the Netherlands, you'll never see a car because everyone rides a bike. Many people in the United States believe that most of the Netherlands is bike dependent, and when you visit the country, you're going to rarely see a car. In fact, there are some YouTube channels that sort of make people believe that. But the reality is you see a lot of cars. Even in cities like Den Haag and Den Bosch, you'll generally see just as many, if not more, cars than bikes. When reading more about car ownership in the Netherlands, it's interesting to learn that it's actually gone up quite a bit in the 2000s. For example, in 1992, about 42% of households were car-free, and in 2016, that dropped to 25%. And I think even for us, we were surprised about how many people asked us about our car expenses and our cost of living video, because we don't have a car, and we're not planning to get a car. It's just one of the reasons we lived in the Netherlands.
Yeah, it was one of our main motivations for moving.
Yeah, so it is a pretty car-dependent country, surprisingly, and I think there's still a lot of people here that have an expectation that you own a car, but the reality is you don't have to, and a lot of people do ride bikes, just, they're still cars.
Okay,
now the bike riding thing is real. I mean, they got more bikes than people, so that is real, but they get away with they get around with all forms of transport. I noticed the Netherlands has built their infrastructure absolutely incredible. To get around on a bike, to get around by foot, to get around on a car, to get around with public transportation. It's just they built great infrastructure for the citizens to be able to get to where they need to go in any form of transportation, it seems like.
Is Holland the Netherlands?
I don't know, is it?
No, Holland
is it just another name for the Netherlands?
I don't know, is it?
Or is it another country entirely? Answer me. Why aren't you answering me?
I don't know.
Why aren't you?
I think these are probably valid questions a lot of Americans might ask when you tell them to explain the difference between the two. And to be honest, I didn't actually know where Holland was within the Netherlands before we decided to move here.
Did you know it was in the Netherlands?
I don't think I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was just another name for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like some countries might have, like the United States and America, people tend to use those names interchangeably. Maybe I thought it was that. But to clear things up, Holland is a part of the Netherlands. It's actually 2 of the 12 provinces. Fuck. Of the 12 provinces. Also, to be really honest, some of this confusion feels self-inflicted since the official website of the country is holland.com. Yeah, that's confusing, right?
That is confusing. Also, when you fly KLM, a lot of the times they'll say that you're landing in Holland or that we're in Holland.
We're entering Holland airspace.
I don't think they announced that.
And now we're entering Dutch airspace.
We're entering Holland airspace. He said, I don't think they say that. Do they announce when you... Oh, I don't know, because I've never been out of the country. So I don't know.
Your clogs back on? Yeah. All right, so here's a fun one. In the Netherlands, everyone smokes weed or marijuana, cannabis, and it's 100% legal in the country. But that's actually not true at all. It is technically against the law to sell or possess any drugs in the Netherlands, but there's this thing called a toleration policy for what are called soft drugs. Basically, this allows the possession of up to 5 grams without prosecution. This also is the same policy that allows coffee shops to operate within the Netherlands. And if you're not familiar with coffee shops, they don't actually sell coffee. It's a place you go to buy and smoke weed. They're extremely popular in Amsterdam, mainly for tourists, but just to emphasize, weed is not actually legal in the Netherlands. Interestingly, I mean, there are coffee shops here in Rotterdam.
Yeah.
There's just like a fraction of the amount that there are in Amsterdam.
Yeah, and there's like 300.
Yeah, and I don't think, I mean, I'm sure some people that live here go to it, but it's really not something that I believe it's not frequented by locals. It's mostly frequented by tourists.
If you're a local and you go to a coffee shop.
Well, no. It's illegal. Don't do that. It is technically illegal.
And naturally, the next one is
prostitution
is everywhere in the Netherlands. We're supposed to say that together. People think it's in
They're supposed to say that together. Get it right.
your face, and every city here has like this seedy red light district with half-naked women in the windows. This is not true. In fact, I think some people might be surprised to learn that prostitution was actually only legalized in the Netherlands in 2000, which is kind of recently.
Amsterdam, the world's ultimate red light city.
It's the city where this type of window shopping for sex workers really exists. Now, that doesn't mean that sex workers don't hold jobs in other cities in the Netherlands. They definitely do. However, they typically operate in more of like an escort type service role.
Gotcha.
And if you're in other cities, you might even see ads for these. Like I know in Rotterdam, there's a few ads for escort services, especially like in the city center area. And again, it's legal and it's a regulated industry here. Sex work is considered a regular job where you pay taxes and you can even receive unemployment benefits.
All right, finally, the biggest misconception,
As you should. As you should.
or at least the one we heard most commonly, is that here in the Netherlands, healthcare is completely free. I wish it was.
Yeah, me too.
I think this is a huge misconception that Americans have about the Netherlands. I would say that the average American would likely think that everyone in the Netherlands just happens to have free universal healthcare. But the reality is that it's not free for the average person. Don't get me wrong, healthcare in the Netherlands is much less expensive than it was in the United States.
I could imagine.
But it's not free. There are actually very few European countries where health insurance is completely free for the average person. That was actually, honestly, the biggest shocking thing. Not like I came here with the expectation, like, oh, I'm never going to pay for healthcare again. But in reality, there really aren't that many countries, as I mentioned, that actually have free healthcare. Now, in the Netherlands, there are ways that you can get your healthcare discounted even further through social programs than what we have based on like your income or I think age. But for us, we pay full price and it's a fourth of what we were paying in the United States.
Oh, wow.
And that's not even touching on the deductible or what's called your
eigen risico,
which is also significantly lower in the United States. So again, way way cheaper in the Netherlands compared to the United States. Just not free.
And that's it. That's our complete list of misconceptions Americans have about the Netherlands. Overall, it's been a really interesting experience living here and hearing the reactions and questions from other Americans when we tell them where we live.
Next, we'd like to put together a video about the misconceptions that Dutch people have about the United States. Let us know in the comments, what would you like to see us cover in that video? What are some stereotypes about the US or the Americans that you all have? And I guess before you write that comment, please be nice.
As always, we appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
That's all we got for us. Were there any more misconceptions that they didn't mention in this video that you guys could think of? And from this video, what do you guys think is the misconception you hear the most from Americans? That healthcare, even if it's not free, being almost 1/4 of the price of the US still has been an absolutely fantastic thing. But yeah, a lot of us have Americans, I feel like, have not been out of the country, much less ever been to the Netherlands. And so we go by whatever stereotypes or whatever things we hear from others, which you shouldn't, but it's what happens. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, check out the next one. I'll see you next